Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I thought this morning I would turn on my camera, capture a little bit of my morning routine, or at least talk about it. A few months ago, I read a book. I do a lot of audiobooking, and so between reading, audiobook, and some short documentary type YouTube videos, I discovered the 5 O'Clock Club. I think it was on Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu. They talked about the 5 O'Clock Club, 5 a.m. Club, and it's about all professionals and entrepreneurs and CEOs waking up and early and having a morning routine and being more productive. And then there was the guy who talked about the science behind it, how the brain works and fires in the morning. And so I thought I'd give it a try. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But then I realized that I remember one particular morning I was laying there. First of all, I set my alarms for 5 o'clock. And for the first few weeks, I think the first day I did it, and it went really well. I woke up and I was very groggy. And I did some yoga. I think the first thing I did actually is got up and went for a walk. And I walked for about a mile, maybe two, about a half hour. And then I came home and I stretched out doing like a very minor, 15-minute yoga set. Made some coffee, and then I meditated. I did a candle meditation, which is when I put a candle down, and it brings me back to a focal point. And I just keep telling myself, observing my thoughts as they wander into different things of the day, and even on my walk, and things that are on my mind. And then I keep coming back to that flame, and I look at the flame, I put it on the floor or out in front of me, and I just keep coming back to the flame. And it works really good. It's something that I like to do, and I become the observer when I do it. I observe my thoughts. In other words, rather than saying, I'm going to come back to this flame, I will say, he brings his attention back to the flame. He lets his thoughts wander for a bit. Now he brings them back to the flame. It's like I'm coaching myself along. I'm like, come on, Joe, bring your thoughts back to the flame. It's okay to wonder, but let's bring it back. And so I allow myself to I allow my mind to wander, but then I call it back, if that makes sense. I'm kind of separating the I that does that and the mind that wanders. And I'm making a clear distinction on the two. In other words, instead of participating with the wandering, why does my mind always wander? Why can't I focus on the flame? I let it wander and say, it's okay to wonder, but let's bring it back to the flame, Joe. And so I become the observer and I separate the two. So that's extremely powerful. And that's how I meditate whenever I meditate. I observe. So that's what I did that morning. And then I journaled a bit, the typical journal. But what I did was I wrote about what was going on, what I did that morning, and how I was going to try this new 5 a.m. thing. Well, the next morning I didn't make it. I didn't wake up. Went back to bed, woke up around 7:30. And, hit or miss for a couple months, I gotta admit. And this has been 3 months. I think I've written in that journal maybe 5 times. And I really noticed how productive, and it was profound how more focused my mind was in the morning when I did these things. So eventually though, I found that rather than 5 o'clock, my mind got up without fighting at around 6. And so I allowed that to be my time. Instead of 5, 6 is my time. So although the concept of waking up early and getting things done is there, 5 o'clock just doesn't seem to mesh with my body. Now, if I went to bed earlier, it might, but 6 o'clock seems to work and I still get plenty done. But another thing I noticed when trying this is that when I woke up at 5 the first few times, and even waking up at 6, sometimes it's a struggle. But I recall clearly one morning telling myself, this isn't about waking up and getting shit done. Just the waking up early part isn't what this is about. It's getting up, it's training the mind. Like, you don't have to be up and awake. but you have to get up. And making yourself get up was what I realized it was really all about. It's forcing yourself into a routine that, as the observer, you know is good for you. But participating in the routine without recognizing that is non-advantageous to the routine itself, if that makes sense. So just getting up and doing those things, ultimately, it's good for you. And you get a lot of things done. But if you participate in that rather than observe it, it's very difficult in the beginning. Now, once you're up and going, then you are part of the routine. It's like you get on board. And then it kind of, which essentially when you look at it is development. You've developed into this thing, but first you have to put the mind there. So when things are difficult, observe the truth in it. Observe what's really going on. Observe the fear that you have. Observe your thoughts. Be the observer first. Watch how you chicken out of shit. Watch how you avoid confrontation. Watch how timid you are. Or in contrast, watch how you dive right into things. And if you're a person who dives right into things and you're always getting yourself in trouble, watch how you dive into those things without taking the necessary steps to avoid trouble. Or, as one would say, watch how you haphazardly make decisions. Observe the way your mind works first. This whole concept of the observer has worked for me in other areas than just the meditation. And it's something I wanted to share. So, with that being said, I'll do a couple more videos kind of doing this observation technique. I want to do it with the meditation, and I think that it might be advantageous to do that and share the process. I got to do a little bit. It's a little tricky because if I'm filming it, I'm aware that it's being observed, and that might change things because I kind of let things flow, and I gotta make sure that if I'm gonna free flow my thoughts, that I do it truthfully, and I don't sugarcoat anything or leave anything out just because it's being observed. Not that it's anything bad. It's just that as an observer, it's almost like if you're gonna be the observer and a performer at the same time, because I'm performing, I'm demonstrating. That's something that's a little bit tricky. So that's what I mean by that. But thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. I gotta get some work done. Got some big projects coming up I'm excited about. And I hope you do too. It's always good to be productive. Progress in life is the key to feeling like you're going someplace. Tony Robbins actually said that. Progress is the key. If you're depressed, it's because you're stagnant in areas of your life that are important to you. And so progress in any area is going to make you feel better. So think about that in different areas of your life today. How do you progress? How do you progress in your relationship? Is it progressing by moving towards a goal, or is it progressing by getting out of it? How do you progress with your health goals? Progress towards eating better, exercising more or less. Sometimes you got to exercise less. Some people get burnout. You have to progress in a certain direction that might be counterintuitive to what most people think. So again, be the observer. Step back and watch what you're doing. Don't participate. Give yourself have empathy for yourself. Understand that this person has a lot going on and can often get pulled in many different directions and get confused. And if that's happening to you, observe it. Give yourself an okay, and talk soothingly to yourself as the observer. Hey, listen, I understand what's going on here. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you on this. Perhaps it'd be better. Oh, here's one. perhaps it'd be better if you did it this way. None of this shit like, man, I should really stop doing this. I should really not call them. Dude, I should really find a new job. Instead of saying things like that, let's switch it to, or try switching it to, perhaps it might be time if you start looking, really actually putting thought and looking for a new job. You know? Perhaps it would be advantageous to finally say something. It's okay to say something to them. It's going to be a confrontation, and that's okay too. You know, things like that. And yeah, give it a shot. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on all that? The Observer. Anybody have experience with that? And if so, you know what to do. Comment below. Anyways, have a good one. We'll talk to you. Joe out.